Hey everyone, this is Joanne coming to you live from New York. I'm also known as #UnicornBoss. So as you guys are jumping online tonight, make sure you hit me up with some unicorn emojis so that way I can circle back around and say hi to you. If you're catching me live, go ahead and leave me a number 1. And if you're grabbing me on the replay, go ahead and leave me number 2 so that way I can circle back around and say hi to you. So I'm seeing a few people jump on. Welcome. Make sure you say hi and let me know where you're coming in from. If you're watching me live, go ahead and leave me a number 1. And if you're catching me on the replay, go ahead and leave me number 2. So if you're keto, go ahead and comment keto below and let me know how long you've been keto. I've got a bunch of new friends who are definitely on a keto health journey, so I always love to hear about that and how long you've been keto. And then if you're a brand new friend, go ahead and comment new below. And if we're not connected yet, make sure you go ahead and send me a friend request and hit follow so that way you can follow along in the journey. So we're going to be talking about something really fun tonight, you guys. I've got my arrow here. And for those of you that are following my journey, I was on a business trip this past week down in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was really, really amazing, super life-changing. And for those of you that watched my video, you saw that I did the arrow break. So here's my arrow in 2 pieces. So I'm really excited to share a little bit about this with you guys, and I know that this can help a lot of people, so I'm really eager to talk about limiting beliefs a little bit and talk about, different things that you can do to kind of help change that mindset and give yourself more power and to just drastically change your life for the better. So make sure when you're popping on, you go ahead and say hi and let me know where you're coming in from. So what exactly is a limiting belief? I'm going to go ahead and get started. So if you're curious about what a limiting belief is, it's basically anything that holds you back and keeps you from being your very best version of yourself. So if you feel like you suffer from some limiting beliefs and maybe just some poor thoughts, and maybe you get stuck in that vicious cycle that repeats over and over again, go ahead and comment and leave me at number 3 below. And I'll put myself in there. I definitely have a number 3. I definitely suffered from those limiting beliefs, and it was something that I used to really struggle with. Hey Luna, thanks for watching. Hey Sherry, thanks for joining. So for those of you that are just jumping on, I'm just getting started. You haven't missed anything yet. I'm going to be talking about the arrow break. So it was really just such an amazing and life-changing experience, and I'm really eager to share it with you all because I know that a lot of you are really going to enjoy this and you're going to get a lot of value out of it. And if you enjoy my videos, please make sure you share with your friends and families. I so appreciate the love and support. So hey Diana, thanks for the 3. So I just asked for any of you guys that suffer from limiting beliefs, go ahead and comment and leave me a number 3 below. So a limiting belief is just something that holds you back from being the very best version of yourself. So just a question for you right now. Do you feel like you are the very best version of you? Are you really hitting it? Are you really super confident and full of love and gratitude and patience and all the things? I mean, if you are, feel free to comment yes below. And if you are, I congratulate you and I give you all the loving and the kudos because I'm definitely not the type of person I can say yes. I am not the best version of myself and I'm working on it. So if you can relate, go ahead and leave me the word no below, and just know that, life is a constant evolution. You always want to keep working to grow and better yourself. So one of the things I learned in this arrow break activity is that you need to diagnose the root cause of the problem. A lot of times we have surface symptoms in our lives of things that are going wrong, and we're just constantly chasing the symptom and we're not actually fixing the problem. So I see a few no's popping up. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. Thanks for the share, Luna. I know it says you're having trouble. But, just think about, I know I could really relate to this myself. I mean, does anybody feel like they're running around, circles, doing loops in your life? You're chasing after all the things, you're trying to get all of the stuff done, and you feel like you're not really accomplishing anything. And it could be, especially when you're working on problems that are happening in your life right now, it could be because you're chasing the symptom and not the actual root problem. And when this was explained during this activity, it really kind of blew my mind because I know that I'm definitely a victim of this. Just think about, I'll use a quick analogy for you. Just think about, let's say you're sick and you've got a runny nose, and you keep going out and you're buying tissues. You're buying tissues to blow your nose because you've got a runny nose, and you keep buying tissues and buying tissues and buying tissues, but that's just the symptom of the greater problem. What is the greater problem? The greater problem, the root cause, is that you're actually sick. So you can buy tissues day and night till you're blue in the face, until your nose is falling off, but you're not going to get well unless you address the root cause of the problem. So that's basically how it works, essentially, too, just in your normal life. So a lot of times we're chasing and we're doing all the things and we're running after the symptom, and we're not actually fixing the root cause of the problem. So I encourage you, after this video, pull out a quick notepad. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but think about if you're the best version of yourself, and think about what's holding you back, and think about what symptom you're chasing, and then think a little harder about what the root cause of the problem is. Hi, Ann, thanks for joining. So let me see what else I have here. So what is it that you actually think about yourself? And I know this is something that's really hard to do. I know it's something that I really struggled with. And if you've watched any of my past videos, I know that I've really shared about doing mirror work, looking yourself in the mirror and telling yourself the things that are really hard to say, all those limiting things that you don't believe about yourself. You know that you're beautiful, that you're special, that you're confident, that you have a special gift, and that the world needs you. Whatever it is, those things that you really wished about yourself, but you don't feel deep down inside, those are the things that you need to start thinking about yourself, and you need to start changing that that inner mindset and that activity. And doing that through mirror work, I find to be especially helpful. Aw, thanks for the love so much, Jacqueline. Hey, Christy, thanks for joining. So what is it that you think about yourself? And I'm going to ask you the hard questions, guys. It's because I love and I care about you, and I want to support you in your journey, on your health journey, just in your personal life. Sometimes if you don't think about these things, you stay stagnant. And if you're unhappy, and I know I've shared about my story very openly with you all, but I used to wake up every day and I hated my life. I was miserable. I was in a very dark place, and I just, like, literally my first thought was how much I hated my life. And I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. And it's because I was brave enough to ask myself the hard questions and make some changes. So, you know, when you're done, take a few moments to write down what you think about yourself, and just understand that you have the power to create an identity about who you believe yourself to be. And it can go either way. You can believe that you hate your life and that you're an awful person and that you're fat, ugly, whatever, all of the awful things that we tell ourselves every day. Or you can create an identity about yourself being super loving, full of gratitude, a lifesaver, changing this world for the better. I mean, whatever it is that makes your heart skip a beat, you can create that identity for yourself as well. And you have the power to find and define your own purpose. And by the way, I can't take credit for all of these notes here that I'm reading through. These are notes that I took during this course that I took, and it was done by the son of Tony Robbins. I can't remember his name, so I'll post it after. But this came from him. I can't take credit for it, but it's so good, and it's really mind-blowing. So think about your purpose, find and define it, and just think about what would happen if you could live one ideal day. Like, let's say you have the perfect day, everything goes right for you. What would that look like? Okay, and then once you have that, think about if you could have more than one ideal day. And then just think about, what if you could have 365 days of ideal days? And while, you know, we may think it's not possible, you can still have a bad day and have it still be an ideal day. Because you'll have days where, of course, things are going to go wrong, but it can still be a good day. You can still be in charge of creating that day and making it special and making it good and making it right just for you. And when, you know, when he said that, just the idea of that you could have 365 days of ideal days, it really just showed me how much, even though I've done all this self-work and worked on my own self-power, how much I still continue to have limiting beliefs in my mind. Because normally you would think it's not possible to have an ideal year. You know, it's not possible to have an ideal week or month or even a few days, and it really is, because you're in charge of defining and creating your own identity. So, and then to go along with that, I know I talk a lot about the power of positive affirmations and doing I am statements. So when you're doing that mirror work, make sure you're talking in present form and telling yourself the things that you want to be, even if you don't believe it. Because in the beginning, you won't believe it. But as you continue to say it, of course, it will get easier and easier. So let's say you're somebody that looks really down upon yourself physically, maybe you don't maybe you say mean things to yourself, maybe you tell yourself that you're fat and ugly and hateful or whatever it is, those things that you tell yourself. You want to say the opposite. So I am beautiful. I am confident. You don't want to say, I wish to be or I hope to be. You want to always use the present tense and make them as positive I am statements. So here's something really cool. I am statements interrupt the network in your brain and they rewire that pattern. And this is why they're so important. So when you have that cycle and that vicious cycle and it's constantly repeating and it's bad all of the time and you've got that bad cassette tape just going on replay, you have to use those I am statements to stop that brain pattern that you have going on repeat in your mind, which is so important. So I thought that was amazing. So I hope that some of you after will go through this and do a quick replay and write down some of these things that I'm challenging you guys on. So after we went through the seminar, we learned all these things, we got an arrow here. And on the arrow, and I would encourage you guys to do this just without an arrow, maybe with go to the dollar store and just buy a dollar plate, like a glass plate, something that you could write on, because you could do this activity really with anything, but this was just so empowering because it was an arrow. But what we did here was we took the arrow and we wrote our limiting belief on it. So you can see I actually have writing here. And then we went out to the back of the parking lot where we had the activity, and we were chanting this mantra, and we were saying, resistance is my power, go, go, go. So anytime you come into, you get into something that's really challenging in your life and you feel that resistance, you have to tap into that and know that it's your power, and you just have to push right through it. And it's always scary. And I know that I tell you guys all the time, which is why this is so exciting for me. I always tell you guys when we're chatting and we're talking about personal development and some of the things that we talk about here on my page, I always tell you to not be afraid of the fear, because the fear is just the arrow and you're pulling it back and it's nice and taut and it's there and it's pulsing and it's ready to just be let go. And as soon as you're brave enough to let go of that fear, the arrow launches and it brings you forth to the next stage, and it releases all the blessings so that way you can be blessed and just have all of the gifts start flowing towards you in your life. So that was especially cool that we had arrows for this, because arrows are special to me for that reason. I'm always talking to you guys about how arrows are a metaphor for fear. So we went out and we wrote our limiting belief on the arrow, and then what we did was somebody was holding it with a board, and we basically just walked through the arrow to break it. And let me tell you guys, it was like the most empowering, amazing thing I've ever experienced. I was so scared to do it. These are special arrows, by the way, so don't go out and buy yourself an arrow and do it. Like I said, if you want to do it maybe on a balloon, write your limiting belief and let it go, or if you want to put it on a plate and then break it, there's lots of other ways you can do it. I would only do this in an activity where you have a coach and somebody supporting you on it, but it was so incredible. I was so scared to do this. And you know what? The reason why I was scared wasn't so much because of the arrow. I mean, I was concerned that maybe I would be the one person there that wouldn't be able to actually break it. But I was mostly scared of actually facing the limiting belief. That was more scary to me than the actual arrow. So when I asked myself what my limiting belief was, I had something come up from my past, from my childhood, that was very traumatic. It's something I haven't thought about in probably at least 10 years, maybe longer. I kind of forgot about it, to be honest, but it was the first thing I thought of when they asked us to kind of hone in and focus on what that limiting belief was that we wanted to push past. And I was so shocked when it came forward, and I realized that this was probably a repressed memory that my brain obviously is still holding on to, and that is causing me to not be able to be completely successful in some of the areas of my life. So once I realized what my belief was, I wanted to immediately escape out of the room. Like, I almost ducked out the back because I didn't want to face it. So I share that with you guys because, you know, some of you guys have some really scary limiting beliefs there that you don't think you can get past. And I just want to share with you and love with you from the bottom of my heart that it's something you definitely have the power to get through. And I encourage you to do it. And if anybody wants help or just to chat and talk about it, please send me a message. I would love to help you work through your limiting belief. So I've been thinking about this all day. I knew I was going to be talking about this tonight, and I wasn't sure I was going to share what my limiting belief is with you all because it's very emotional and kind of scary. So, but because I know a lot of you guys really enjoy these videos and how much I help coach and develop you to kind of push past these things, I'm going to go ahead and share the belief with you. And if anybody feels safe enough and if they want to comment and share their own limiting belief in the comments below, something that you want to work through, definitely feel free to leave it here below. So I know it's hard to see here and you can't really read it, but my limiting belief says, you will never amount to anything and you will end up living in a cardboard box one day. So this was something that people in my life told me regularly when I was younger. And it was definitely a crippling, limiting belief. And I always have that failure of, what if I can't do it? What if something goes wrong? What if I end up homeless? And as crazy as that is, you know, when we're children and we have these things told to us over and over again, it's very, very sad and it's very hurtful. And I'm like choking back some feeling here, but it was the most powerful thing to do. And you can see my arrow is broken. I don't know if you can see the tip there, but yeah. I busted through this bad boy. So all we did was we held it right here in this soft space in your esophagus here. It doesn't hurt. And like I said, we're being supervised and we just busted through these bad boys. And it was the most amazing experience. One of the most amazing and liberating and freeing experiences of my entire life. And I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to do it. So I wanted to pop online. And if you guys missed it, I'll link it after. I have the video that shows me pushing through the arrow. So if you guys want to see it, you can. It's real short. It's like 4 seconds, but it was like so emotional and so beautiful. And it's interesting when you do activities like this and you actually physically break something. And that's why I said you could do it with like a glass plate or like a balloon or anything. It's just that activity of releasing. I actually felt the movement physically in my soul. It's amazing. Thanks, Jacqueline, for the love. Christy said you could do it with a Chinese lantern, which I think would be so beautiful. But yeah, I encourage you guys to go back and catch the replay real quick, and some of the questions I asked through, really sit down and pulse through them and just really find out what's in your heart there. Start to develop your I am statements. Start to rewire your brain and find that limiting belief that's really holding you back, and do some kind of small activity that you can do to release and break it. And you will be surprised. I felt like such a weight come off of me not having to deal with this crippling belief anymore. And you know what's the worst part about these crippling beliefs, you guys, is that while I told myself a lot of BS, I'll be honest, and I know I've shared with you guys before that, you know, I'm a very loving person, and oftentimes I would tell myself such ugly things I would never think of telling another person. So while I had my own stuff going on, a lot of times these limiting beliefs are things that other people put on you. And like this was one that I didn't even have control over. And it was something that I was told constantly. And it's affected me all of these years. So, I don't know. I just was so excited to share this with you all. I've got a lot of great content from my time down in Louisville, so I'm really excited to be sharing a lot of this information with you guys. So if you enjoy it, make sure you leave me some hearts below, and please share this out on your wall with your friends and family. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there hurting and struggling with their own limiting beliefs and would love to have sit down and journal and answer these questions and do a small activity to help work through them and get better. better. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I really, really appreciating it. Sending you all so much love and support. Thank you so much for the love, you guys. I see the comments here. Thank you so much for all the hearts. And I hope you guys have a great night. I will see you here again tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.